Welcome back, race fans, to another episode of Buckle Up. This one really got away from me. Doug and I recorded this episode in early July. We talk a lot about his late June Collegiate Loop successful self-supported run. And it's a great conversation. Unfortunately, timeliness of it is a little bit dated at this point, but it's not an event. It's just a route that you could do it anytime. So Doug jumped the gun and had to do it for other light circumstances, had to do it on the last week of June. And we talk a lot about at length and his experience on the Colorado Trail and the Collegiate Loop itself, and other great things that he and his family and his running community in Grand Junction are really supportive of, with Elevate Kids, the nonprofit that they put together a couple years ago. If you're able to help out and jump on to Elevate Kids, check out the documentary of Doug McCaw. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great week.
Miles of dust beneath your feet, another sunrise you will meet. Pushing past the weary climb, leaving doubts and fears behind. Hear the trail call out your name, ignite that inner hopeful flame. For the journey and the view, and that shiny buckle too. Buckle up, let's start the show.
Doug McCaw, thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening to sit down and talk to me about your most recent adventure.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.
How's everything going? You're a week out from your last adventure. I want to say a little more than a week, I guess. A week and a couple days.
Yeah.
We kind of talked offline. You've been rightfully so taking a break for a couple days, and are you looking to get back into things? How are you feeling?
Yeah. I think starting to get back into things. You know, overall feel pretty good. Feet are a little bit, tops of my feet are actually a little sore. So that's about it. It was a good run. I mean, we didn't have a lot of bad injuries happen. So that was good.
Excellent. Let's just get right to it then. You just did the Collegiate Peaks Loop. It's the Colorado Trail. It's the new section. I want to say it came around maybe 2012 or so, the Collegiate West, the Colorado Trail from Denver to Durango, kind of at Twin Lakes splits, and now there's a west route and an east route. The east route's been there a long time. Actually, you have a lot of history on that eastern route, more so than the western route, if I'm not mistaken. But now there's a western route, and then they reconvene at the southern terminus of what ski resort is that? It's
Monarch. So
Monarch Pass Ski Resort, yeah.
Yeah, just past Monarch Pass, just past the road there on Monarch Pass. You head down the trail just a little bit there, and you catch Foose Creek and head back up. So it's a neat loop.
And have you done it before?
Yes, I did it once. I did it once before.
Okay.
About 2 years ago, I did it, and it took me about 71 hours and 20 minutes last time I did it.
Okay, we're talking about 165 miles.
Yeah.
About 36,000 feet of elevation gain, if I'm not mistaken. I guess depends on which way you went. But this particular way would go west to east, would be about 36,000, yeah?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah, you start out by climbing over Hope Pass. And then you drop down, and then you come over Lake Ann Pass. And then you climb up to Cottonwood Pass. And then you head out across, and you head up to Tin Cup Pass Road. So there's a bunch of time there spent above tree line, you know, just kind of having a good time up there, and then you drop down to the Pass Road, and then you climb from there back up towards Hancock Lake, and then there's a little pass there. Then you head down towards Boss Lady Lake, and then from there you climb all the way up onto that area be above Monarch Ski Area, kind of come into the backside of Monarch Ski Area, come across the area that then you drop down essentially to the Highway 50 there at the top of Monarch Pass, head out to Foose Creek, and then down Foose Creek and back to 50. Then your next hop is over to Angel of Chavano campground area.
And now, just to kind of pause there for a second, now you're heading back north on the eastern side. You've tied back in there at Monarch. The high route, or the western side, is also the Continental Divide Trail, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Okay.
It's that red line that everybody talks about. So there are just past Monarch Pass, you're catching the east side.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so from Angel of Chavanel.
Shav. Yeah.
Yeah. You go up to Chalk Creek or Mount Princeton area. And then you get a little bit of time on the road up to the summer camp. And then you're connecting into Cottonwood Pass and then over to the Yale Trailhead. And then you get a nice section up to Clear Creek Reservoir. And then the last section in back to Twin Lakes.
And you started at the dam on Twin Lakes on the that would be on the eastern side of the dam,
yeah,
or eastern side of the lakes on the dam.
So I actually started my time at the intersection. So
Okay.
I started at the dam. We kind of ran in, but the clock and everything else that we ran it from the intersection of the east-west back to that intersection.
Oh, from the actual split. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, cool. 165 miles, right? Would you clock it at? Yeah, about that.
About that, I think it was like 160. I think Caltapa was 162.
Okay.
So I mean, the struggle with the watch is always, every time you stop, it's either you're stopping it to kind of keep the zombie miles away, or you're catching extra zombie miles. So I've clocked it as high as like 170, but I think it's probably 162-ish is a better way. Is a better way to go.
And 2 years ago, you said you did it. Did you do it in the same configuration, same direction, and everything?
I did. Yeah. 2 years ago, it was a real struggle. I actually coming around it. I got to the section where you're going from Tin Cup Pass Road towards Boss Lady Lake, and I kind of hit a wall in there, and it was a real struggle. I mean, I was hanging on the poles and really trying to get over the pass and whatnot, and kind of worked on recovery for a while after that, but never quite was able to really get the wheels back on the way I wanted them the last time. And this time it turned out a lot better. So
great. What about high altitude, right? I mean, it's I know you live in Colorado. I live a little bit higher than you, I think, but you're probably at 5,000 feet, maybe 4,000, 4,500.
Yeah, about 4,500 feet. And I was trying to spend every weekend that I could up there. So we've spent the last 3 or 4 weekends prior to this trip in the mountains and in similar areas, doing 14ers and doing stuff that way, and that really helped. Started to get the acclimation at least started. But yeah, you take off immediately. I mean, Hope Pass is 12.5, 13. Lake Ann is about the same, and then once you get past Cottonwood, that entire section is, I don't think it dips much below about 11.5. So that section's really high as well. And you got a lot of that section that's part of High Lonesome as well. So it's kind of
and I would say maybe the low point on the map on GPS is probably 8.5, or I think Twin Lakes is 9.3. So is there anything lower than that?
Not really. I mean, I think your lowest spots are, I mean, it might be as you're coming down through Chalk Creek or Cottonwood there, maybe. Yeah, it stays pretty high. I would agree that probably don't dip much below about 9,000. So So just crazy, not self-supported, but a solo effort in the fact that it's not an event by any means. You put it on the calendar. You can pick the weather window, of course, according to the rest of life going on around you, right? Work and all the other obligations. Yeah, this was one I actually had planned for August.
Okay.
But based on work stuff, I'd actually planned to do Durango to Molas this past weekend. And based on work and whatnot, I decided to reevaluate and actually pull the Eagle out. And I was lucky enough to have a group of friends that was willing to help support that and come out and really, really go. I mean, I was super blessed on this one to have a pacer start to finish.
Wow, that's a lot of miles.
It was, yeah. And I had like three people that were pacing, so they each did about 50, 60 miles apiece and helped move vehicles and everything else. It was a busy weekend, but super, super helpful.
Did they leapfrog, or did they just stay on for full sections, or what did that look like for them?
Yeah, so what it would look like is they would I'd pick up a pacer and I go through the section and usually pick up either another pacer or they would take the next section as well. And we would just kind of go. And then the other two would typically work on moving vehicles or whatever else had to happen during that time. Had a couple other people that joined in for just a section. And that was fun because we had multiple people out there. It was a lot of fun to share the trail with others. You know, I last time I did a lot of it by myself. I mean, like I think I picked up my first pacer about the Boss Lady Lake trailhead. So, you know, having people all the way through this time was really special.
Who are these people? Because I'm always looking for pacers.
My wife was phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, interesting story on her. She took the second section, and then she did another section. She did the Boss Lake to Monarch Pass section, and then she did that last or the Yale Trailhead to Clear Creek Reservoir section. And I'm pretty sure she brought the shovel on the that last section because she was trying to bury me. I'm pretty sure of it. It was good though.
She was trying to drop you. You got to drop.
You got to
drop your runner. Yeah.
She was. She was up there going, looking at the watch and going, "Are you coming yet?" No. It was really good. It was. You know, the push that we ended up doing from essentially we did a push from the Cottonwood Pass from Cottonwood Pass all the way to Clear Creek Reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, you know, that first section is only 6.3 miles, but you got like 2,800 feet of elevation gain and drop essentially. And then the next section is like 4,000 feet of vert over almost 18 miles. And that one's kind of structured with a big first climb. You kind of roll it for a while. You kind of drop down 800 to 1,000 feet, maybe 1,200. And then you got this really steep climb up before you got like a 4-mile descent. And it was the fastest I've ever felt like I moved back there. It was awesome. She really kept the pace high.
Melinda, right? Your wife, Melinda, is also in shape. Apparently to be able to come out and run 3-4 sections at a time with you.
Yeah.
She's no stranger to the trail and actually that particular section because you guys in 2020 did a duo Colorado Trail from Denver to Durango. Am I correct? Yeah.
We did, yes. It was a lot of fun. That was the first time we'd run it. We actually did it down the trail quite a few different times. It started for us early as the idea to ride it. And so we started out mountain biking it, and we did one trip where we mountain biked only. Then we started going, hey, you know, it'd be great to stay on the trail the entire time. So the idea started to become, hey, could we run the wilderness sections? And it took us a couple tries. So we actually, you know, the first try we ran, we were doing Denver to Durango on those. And the first time we ran about Turquoise Lake, we said, you know what, I've had about enough running. We're slowing down too much. So we just hopped on the bikes and finished it. And then we went back one more time and we actually finished out the run and whatnot. And then just before that trip in 2020, my wife came to me and said, hey, I think I'd like to try to run the entire trail. And I said, okay, yeah, let's go give it a shot. And so we planned it and shot the video and everything else. And it kind of became the launch of Elevate Kids, which is our nonprofit. She's gone back since, and she actually holds the Durango to Denver Collegiate West Women's FKT on the trail. So
awesome,
yeah,
awesome.
It's the trail's something that we've done a lot with, and it's been a lot of fun. Other pacers I had, Clarissa was out there, and she was huge, kind of keeping things going. I had a good buddy that also named Brian that I've been training with for a while this year. He came out. He's kind of new to ultras and didn't quite know what to expect. So it was a good indoctrination for him.
It's a total immersion. It's a total immersion. Are you guys still friends? Is he totally immersed in the community now, or is he exiting and buying pickleball rackets?
I don't know. He kind of likes to come and go a little bit. He's been playing with triathlons and some things that way. So we'll see. But yeah, he's he's still friendly. He still takes my calls. So this is
All
good.
right. All right. All right. What about the weather out there? How was, gosh, I think you went the last week in June, I want to say, right? It's been
We
almost a
did.
full week. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it
Yeah.
was it the marathon weekend, I want to say, in Leadville Marathon? So it was before
Yeah. Yeah.
July 4th weekend, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
like the 27th. I think you started on a Friday. How was the weather in the high country?
It was excellent. It was a little cooler than I had initially thought about and planned about. It wasn't cold, but it was cooler, so it kind of played with my nutrition a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not I had to cut the salt back and some things that way to kind of adjust, and it took me a little bit to get that adjusted. But yeah, I mean it was cooler. I didn't have to deal with the sweltering heat, which was awesome. We actually had a little bit of snow up on that Tin Cup area. It wasn't snowing while we were going across, but it was fresh snow that was there as we were going through middle of the night. We did have some thunderstorms and rain as we were leaving top of Cottonwood, which is always a little bit nerve wracking. But yeah, I mean, we just it was kind of off in the distance a bit, and we just kind of kept going. So it was good.
That's awesome. And what about, so I believe that the Leadville fire started Sunday and you finished, I think, just after that, but also you're a bit
We
south
did.
of the fire. But what about smoke in the air? Because Colorado has a lot of fires burning. There's the state line of Utah and Colorado has been burning just probably
Yeah.
just down the road from you where you actually reside, which is in Grand Junction, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's been really smoky here ever since we got back. So yeah, smoke wasn't really much of an issue. We started noticing the fire stuff and whatnot as we were at the aid station that we set up in at Clear Creek Reservoir. We're kind of sitting there, and all of a sudden you're like, "Look, it's falling. There's ash falling on us." So we had a little bit of that. Had a little bit of smoke as we were kind of climbing up the hill, and kind of up on top. Then it kind of cleared. The wind kind of moved a little bit, and it kind of cleared out. I've got some interesting pictures with like the red moon reflecting off the reservoir and some stuff that way, and then a little later it was completely clear moon, right? The nice white moon, so you could tell the wind had changed. So overall, very little effect, which was a huge blessing.
Yeah, that's great. That's a sounds like a perfect weekend. I know we connected prior to you starting because you're looking for a little bit of additional help to see if I was around, and I
Yeah.
just couldn't swing it. I had some other obligations. It was a little short notice, and you've already mentioned
Yeah,
that it
yeah.
was a little short notice,
Yeah.
that you were just kind of maybe winging it, getting
I
it in
was.
there before the season happened. So the last time you did it in 2022, I want to say we just
Yeah.
24.
24, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago in 24, you
2 years
did it
ago.
in 71 hours. What did your time look like this time compared to that, and what maybe have you changed in the two different attempts?
Yeah, so I was at about 66:20 this time. So it was a good improvement, about 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I think things that kind of changed is I think my preparation coming into it was a lot more consistent. I've actually had a really good consistent block from about the middle of January straight through. I think I had maybe 1 week that I was kind of struggling with sore muscles or something, and whatnot, and the rest of them were like good long efforts every weekend, just kind of really pushing stuff. Some of that has really kind of come about from some changes I made in my training program, kind of having a little more structure around my week, as well as something setting workouts on a more regular basis. And it's been something I've been playing with. It seems to be working. Seems to be kind of developing developing things better. So that's good. I think the other piece that I really played with that had a huge effect was working on my nutrition and trying to get that dialed in better. I think there was more room to improve based on where I was at with this trip. I've been using a pretty heavy mixture of feed high carb and scratch. I usually take it and mix it, full strength feed high carb, and then drop a scoop of scratch in it to kind of cut the sweet, and also kind of changes it adds a lot to the sodium content, which was which was a bit of a struggle as I got further into the event. My goal was to drop one of those bottles about every 2 hours, and it just became too much as far as what my stomach would allow. So we made a pivot to more whole food and really kind of reduce the sodium intake a bit and whatnot, which was it seems to be a lot easier to get the sodium to drop off of sodium than to be sodium deficient and try and go the other way. So that was actually a better thing between the two of them, because on the first one, I believe I was pretty sodium deficient. And it made a big difference in how hard I could push towards the end. This round, we kind of talked about those last two sections, which was about a marathon distance, and being able to actually push those hard. And I mean, literally, I could push to about as maximum as my heart rate would sustain at that point in time and just hold it. So being able to do that was a huge key for cutting time and staying with stuff. So that was good.
Yeah, definitely that late into 165 miles. You're talking 140 completed miles.
Yeah.
To be able to move efficiently, I totally get it. It's a game changer. Are you? What's the goal out there? Are you kind of punching at the FKT? I don't even know what it is for men.
Yeah.
Are you just poking around at it? Are you just trying to better yourself? Are you doing all those things? What does it look like?
A little bit of everything there. I mean, the FKT right now is about 46 hours for the guys. So I mean, I'm not close to it yet. It's one that if I start looking at my aid station time and whatnot, I can justify that my speed is getting closer to where it might need to be. But yeah, I've got some improvement to do before I can really go after those kind of times. So at this point, go ahead.
Do you know what your moving time and stopped time was in 66 hours by chance?
Yeah, so stop time in 66 was about 13 hours, 14 hours. I did sleep twice, not real long, but a little bit. I think I was about an hour the first time, about an hour and a half the second time, which is actually more sleep than what I did the first trip. And it was I kind of did sleep this trip based on when I got to the point where I wasn't moving well. I mean, the section coming into, I did really well coming into Boss Lake Trailhead. Once I got back up on top and started coming into Monarch, I was really struggling again and kind of almost like bonked a little bit. It was kind of a walk in, and I mean that one I came in and I was just like, okay, I got to reset. So I ate a bunch of stuff. I think there was a pint of ice cream in there.
What's the flavor, Doug?
I think that was cookie dough.
All right.
So yeah, so I did that, and then slept about an hour, and then got back out and started moving. And then coming into Chalk Creek, I had 2 precision gels that I got, caffeinated gels that I popped before on my way across that section, and they literally did nothing. I was literally like, still like stumble walking, just kind of trying to make progress, and it just wasn't happening. So I kind of rolled into that aid station and just crashed and said, wake me up in a couple hours or an hour and a half or so, and then we'll go. And that worked. That kind of resets, continue the rest of that day and all the way into I think we finished about 1:30ish in the morning. So
you were able to push all the way through from Princeton all the way in? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. Interesting thing, as we were coming through, so we were coming across from Cottonwood Pass across to Tin Cup. There was this light that we started noticing. It was kind of out behind us. And we kept watching it and whatnot, and it didn't quite catch us at Tin Cup, and so we as we kept going, I looked back a few times, and in the section between out actually pretty near Hancock Lake, my pacer was like, we got somebody behind us. So we pulled over and let him by, and we talked to the guy briefly, and it turns out we were on the same mission, which is kind of amazing given the fact that it was just kind of a spur of the moment kind of thing. And he was shooting, I don't know where, I don't remember his name or anything else, but he was shooting for somewhere between 50 and 60 hours. I hope he got there. We ended up giving him a little bit of a race for his money because we passed him back the next morning on the way to Boss Lake. He pulled over to adjust some gear, and we caught back up to him, and then he passed us while we were in our aid station. And we never saw him again, but yeah, I hope he made it.
That's fun though, right? Like
it is
the camaraderie. Many other people out there, through hikers, a lot of backpackers doing the whole route or any part of the route.
There were a number of backpackers out there. We were moving pretty fast, so we just pretty much say hi and kind of move on. So I don't know what a lot of them were up to, but yeah, we saw a number of people out there. It's still a popular thing, and it's interesting. I've been out on the trail my wife and I were talking about it, and I think we started playing with the Colorado Trail about 2007, or maybe it was 2005, somewhere in that range. And it's been interesting to watch the number of people that are using the trail grow. It's kind of a neat thing. So
I flag a part of the Summit 200 up in Summit County, outside of Breckenridge, and about 10 miles of it's on the Colorado Trail, in and out of it. And I'm putting orange clothespins in trees with reflectors and stickers and all these things. And so all these through hikers are always asking me what I'm doing. Am I going to leave it out there? Why am I putting trash out in the woods? And I'm like, don't worry, I'll come back in a couple of days and get it all. Don't worry. But I too was surprised on how many people were actually using the trail. It was really popular, and I was probably marketed on like a Thursday morning before like a Friday race or something along those lines. So so not even like a peak weekend day, like a Saturday or something.
Yeah, no, it's grown over the years, and it's a testament to what a wonderful trail it is, and how well marked and how people take care of it. So it's huge.
Yeah, and is the high route maintained enough as well, or like dug in enough? Or I mean, I know the east route has like the history and it's pretty posh, like it's pretty runnable, and I mean, if you're fresh, right? But is the west route similar to that, or does it still feel a little newer?
The west route still feels a little newer. They did a nice reroute. So it used to be that after you came over Lake Ann Pass, you dropped way down towards Texas, kind of into the moto trails and kind of came across. They've done a reroute close to the top where you actually stay up in the wilderness the entire time. And that reroute, they've put a lot of time and effort into that. It's a beautiful trail. I mean, there's a few spots that are a little rougher, but it's awesome. The section, the 10 Cup, the Cottonwood Pass, the 10 Cup section is a bit rocky. I mean, you're up there, you're catching tundra and whatnot. So that section is definitely one that you're going to want to take a solid shoe on. Give yourself some protection, and the climb out of that next section to Boss Lake Trailhead has some rough sections in it, but it actually runs pretty well. I mean, it's not, you've got some climbing, you get to go ups and downs, and then you're going to drop down onto the Alpine tunnel railroad bed, and then you run that railroad bed for a while, and then you kind of turn right and head up to Hancock Lake. That section of Hancock Lake is a little rougher because it's a newer trail, but it's up and down a bit, and you're going to hike some. But once you get past Hancock Lake and over the pass, you can fly pretty good all the way down. And then got the section to Boss Lady Lake, and then climbing all the way up to the top of the ridge there. That'll work you, but it's all pretty good trail, honestly.
No, I like that. I like that it sounds a little rustic still and has that feel. It doesn't sound like it's completely over improved. I'm sure it'll get there with just pure traffic going over it, and then and the trail crews doing improvements as they need to. Also being part of the CDT and the Colorado Trail West sections will probably get some attention to it, and so it'll probably be worn in just like anything, which is fine. But I'm glad that it's getting used, and there's people out there, and they're getting out into the woods and challenging themselves, right?
Yeah.
I want to back up a little bit and talk
Sure.
about something you mentioned in the beginning here or earlier in the conversation about the nonprofit. Why don't you talk a little bit about the nonprofit, what it
Yeah.
is, what your guys' role in it is, and how it became a thing?
So the nonprofit kind of started out of my wife and I's desire to do something for others. We kind of as we started doing that run, where that 18 we did an 18-day run from Durango to Denver. I believe I can't remember whether we did Collegiate West or Collegiate East on that one, but we as we did that run, it was one of those things that we kind of looked at it and said, we got support, we got film crew and everything else is all about us. Let's make this something special that benefits others. And we had started with some pledges and stuff that way, and we were initially pushing all pledges directly to the nonprofits we were supporting, and we did the movie, and the movie was something that we actually showed in town a bit, and we actually had it at a couple theaters. We had it at the university as well. So it was a lot of fun to kind of interact with the community that way, and kind of raise money for the nonprofits that we were interested in supporting. As things kind of developed, we started Elevate Kids. Elevate Kids is our nonprofit that we use to support a number of nonprofits and schools that we're passionate about. Mm-hmm. One of the big ones is Kids Aid. It's a local backpack program. They provide food for kids over the weekend that would normally maybe not have anything to eat. So food for us is a huge deal. When we're out running and training and working on stuff, it's a huge deal for kids to be able to learn and function. So we enjoy supporting that one. We also end up supporting a lot of the schools in their PE programs. And one of the the real event that we've kind of made into an annual event has been our fun run. So we every year in the spring we put on a 2.5, 5, and a 10K run that allows us to help fundraise for the schools and for the nonprofits that we like to support. And it's grown over the years. I think we first started out, I think we had 250 people and whatnot. This last year we had 423 participants. And we give the opportunity for the participants to choose the school that they want to put a portion of their ticket towards. So there's choice for the participants to help support the program of their choice. There's also money that we give back. That we just give back as far as prizes for the teams with the most money raised or the most participants. So yeah, it's been something that's kind of grown. I think we had our 5th annual this last year, and we've got great partners. D51's a partner of ours for that. So that's the local school district, and it's been incredible to kind of see what's possible when you give back.
Yeah, that's totally some of our struggles here in Western Colorado. We see it in my valley as well, and it's needed, right? And it feels good to do that. It's also motivation, right? It helps you in those struggles in the dark hours on the trail. Like, hey, we're doing this for a bigger cause than just to get the Strava kudos, right?
Yeah, no, it's huge, right? I mean, I think that on our first CT, it was a huge driver to say, hey, we're doing this for the kids, and so I mean that's great mental fuel. So.
Yeah, it definitely drives it. I love that message. I love the deal. I know we ran. We ran together just before I had surgery on my foot. Before I went to. And you told me this story, so I kind of knew this whole story. But I love sharing the message, so I want to make sure that all the listeners can hear it as well.
Definitely.
You also invited me to come down and do it with my team, and so somehow we're gonna make this happen. I'm gonna get my cross country kids, my track kids down there somehow. Maybe I'll drive the minibus down and see if I can and make that
Yeah,
happen somehow.
love to have you. We'll sign you up on a team and send the money back to your school. So
Even better, even better.
yeah.
Doug, what is your a week and a half out from finishing 165 miles in 66 hours? You've been resting for a couple of days, you mentioned. You're kind of probably itching at getting back to
Yeah.
some sort of structure in running. Anything else on the calendar the rest of the year?
I've got a bunch of stuff with work at this point. So I think right now the goal will be to kind of go into, working on speed, working on some shorter distances, and trying to pick that back up, and then kind of seeing what develops. If I get another opportunity, I'd love to get down and do like a Durango to Mullis, or even a Durango to like Spring Creek Pass. It's been kind of on the horizon a little bit. We'll see what happens with that. I've got a bunch of work's going to take me down to sea level here for a while. I'll get to play with heat training, high humidity, and that kind of stuff. But
well, you got the heat. You just don't have the humidity. You got the heat down there in Junction.
Yeah, we do. But
Yeah.
I always run in the morning, so I don't get it nearly as much as it probably should. But
yeah, you could though. You could have the heat. I guess is how we should say, right?
could.
Yeah, for sure. We talked offline beforehand. You're not big on social media, which is totally cool. I actually really appreciate that. But you do have Strava. So if our listeners want to follow you on Strava, what's your Strava handle?
I think it's Doug McCaw II.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just me. Yeah, even, reach out, and I do have it set so you have to reach out, but I'm looking for somebody to be a real person. That's really the criteria there. So
yeah, no bots.
I've had a few bots, and kind of like, okay, I think we need to probably lock that down just a little bit, but yeah,
for sure.
Well. And then elevatekids.org is the other place to kind of follow what we're doing as far as that stuff. So
great. You got the 5K, 10K, spring race. Any other events on the horizon? Or are you trying to branch out a little bit more? Or what's that look like in the near future for Elevate Kids?
Yeah, for Elevate Kids, I think that's probably where we're going to be. I think we're just focusing on the one event at this point. We'll have to see where it goes. There could be another event in the future. I mean, we do, as we put this thing on, we're making all the medals ourselves to keep costs down. We're actually pressing all of our own shirts and everything else. So there's a lot of work that goes into making this thing work and really give us the opportunity to give back to the community as much as possible. So I don't know that there's a lot of bandwidth for a lot more events at this point.
Sure.
But you never know. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that we would be doing Elevate Kids either. So things change.
Well, it's great. It's such a worthy cause. We appreciate your time this evening. Thanks so much for sharing your message. We'll follow you on Strava and check out your next great adventure. Thanks for coming on the show.
Great. You're welcome.